Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a group of magical creatures known as the Fantastic Four. There was Fizzy the fairy, who could conjure up sparkling potions with a wave of her wand. Blaze the dragon, who could breathe a fire and fly through the skies. Glimmer the mermaid, who could swim through the ocean at lightning speeds. And last but not least, there was Rusty the giant robot, who could transform into any kind of vehicle imaginable. The Fantastic Four lived in a beautiful kingdom called Fairyland, where the sun always shone and the flowers always bloomed. However, despite its beauty, Fairyland was not always a peaceful place. You see, there was a wicked witch who lived on the outskirts of the kingdom, and she was always scheming and plotting to take over Fairyland for herself. Her name was Witch Hazel, and she was the meanest, most evil witch in all the land. She had long, tangled hair, a crooked nose, and a cackling laugh that sent shivers down the spine. Witch Hazel was always up to no good, and the Fantastic Four knew they had to be on their guard at all times. One day, while the Fantastic Four were out on a mission to gather some rare ingredients for a spell, they received a distress call from the King of Fairyland. The wicked witch Hazel had cast a spell on the royal castle, and it had been turned into a giant, creepy castle made of candy. The Fantastic Four knew they had to act fast, so they raced back to Fairyland as fast as they could. When they arrived, they saw that the castle was surrounded by a moat of bubbling, brown slime. Witch Hazel was standing on the castle's drawbridge, cackling maniacally. "Ha ha ha! I've finally done it! I've taken over the castle, and now I'm the Queen of Fairyland," she exclaimed. The Fantastic Four knew they had to stop Witch Hazel before it was too late. Fizzy flew up to the castle and tried to use her magic to reverse the spell, but Witch Hazel was too powerful. Blaze tried to breathe a fire at the witch, but she just laughed and waved her hand, causing the flames to dissipate. Glimmer tried to swim through the slime and attack Witch Hazel from behind, but the witch was too quick and sent her flying back into the moat with a flick of her wrist. Rusty tried to transform into a tank and roll over the castle, but Witch Hazel just laughed and conjured up a giant boulder to block his way. It seemed like the Fantastic Four were no match for Witch Hazel. But just when all hope seemed lost, a bright light appeared in the sky. It was a magical, rainbow-colored unicorn, and it was the most beautiful thing the Fantastic Four had ever seen. The unicorn flew down to the castle and landed gracefully on the ground. It looked at Witch Hazel with its big, beautiful eyes and spoke in a soft, gentle voice. "Witch Hazel, why do you choose to be so wicked and mean? Don't you know that love and kindness are the most powerful forces in the universe?" Witch Hazel sneered at the unicorn and cackled. "Love and kindness? Those things are for fools. I choose power and control." But the unicorn just smiled and said, "Power and control will only bring you temporary happiness. True happiness comes from within, and it can only be found through love and kindness. I'm here to help you see the error of your ways and turn over a new leaf." Witch Hazel looked at the unicorn, and for a moment, it seemed like she was considering its words. But then she shook her head and snarled, "I'll never change my ways. I'll rule Fairyland with an iron fist, and there's nothing you or anyone else can do to stop me." The Fantastic Four looked at each other, unsure of what to do next. But then Fizzy had an idea. She flew up to the unicorn and whispered something in its ear. The unicorn nodded and turned back to Witch Hazel. "Very well," it said. "If you refuse to change your ways, then I must use my magic to defeat you." With a flick of its horn, the unicorn goes to the Fantastic Four and takes all of them on his back. First, the slime was splashed on the witch. The witch got stuck in the slime and started to come out of it, but before she could come out, Blaze breathed fire at the witch. The wicked witch screamed as the fire hit her, and her body started to burn. Glimmer could not bear that and splashed water on the witch. But Hazel had a cruel mind. As the fire stopped, the witch moved forward to make another attempt on the Fantastic Four. The unicorn was watching everything, but now was the time for him to say enough. When the unicorn summoned the robot, Rusty transformed into a massive truck and drove over the witch. Witch Hazel died right there, her body parts fell everywhere. The Fantastic Four celebrated the death of Witch Hazel, and the unicorn flew down to join them. It thanked them for their help and said, "I must be going now, but remember, love and kindness are the most powerful forces in the universe. Use them wisely, and you can overcome any obstacle." And with that, the unicorn flew off into the sunset, leaving the Fantastic Four to celebrate their victory. From that day on, Fairyland was a place of peace and love, and the Fantastic Four lived happily ever after. The end. Dear viewers, please subscribe to the channel to get more interesting stories every week. Thank you, and I hope to see you again soon.